0.2 million Americans have filed for unemployment. But I mean, here, specifically with Michigan, Michigan has been devastated. And notably here, because Whitmer banned home-to-home travel, that means people who have jobs like landscapers, they will now also find themselves out of a job now. So because of that, you have a lot of Republican politicians in the state arguing that workers should get exemptions because they can socially distance while working. However, Whitmer has refused to grant that exemption. You also have people angry because while Michigan does have one of the biggest outbreaks in the country, that outbreak currently is mainly concentrated in Southeast Michigan and Detroit. So you have some people, especially small business owners and workers, arguing that there should be regional and industry-based exemptions. For example, you had one worker at a greenhouse saying, "I don't think she's listening to petitions and people who are trying to communicate in a less extreme way that there are small businesses that are suffering." Right, so there's that, but on the other side of this, you have Whitmer. And while Whitmer has said that she thought about people like that when she was signing the order, she also said she feared the economy would be worse if she didn't sign it. Also yesterday, responding to Operation Gridlock, saying,
"But we know that when people gather that way without masks, they were in close proximity, they were touching one another, that's how COVID-19 spreads." And so the sad irony here is that the protest was that they don't like being in this stay-home order, and they may have just created a need to lengthen it, which is something that we're trying to avoid at all costs.
Over on MSNBC, we also saw Whitmer criticize the protest.
It wasn't really about the stay-at-home order at all. It was essentially a political rally, a political statement that flies in the face of all of the science, all of the best practices, and the stay-home order that was issued. You know, looks like a lot of people, and it felt like a lot of people, but in the bigger scheme of things, Michigan's a state of 10 million people, the vast majority of whom are doing the right thing.
Also going on to say the protesters in cars actually blocked an ambulance from being able to get into a hospital. On a related note, we also saw a video that was reportedly from a healthcare worker who was trying to get to work.
"How can I do my job if y'all idiots are blocking up the ways to get to the hospital? There are people dying every minute. And you guys, Trump supporters, want to block up everything and don't care about nobody else. What if it was your mother? What if it was your father? What if your infant son or daughter gets sick? This is ridiculous. It is unfair for the people that have to go to work every single day, especially in the hospital, to do their job. If y'all don't take y'all asses home, this is what I'm mad about. All y'all want to sit down there and pump your horn, hang out the window, throw your flag out because y'all don't like what somebody told y'all to do? Y'all some idiots.
But then, back on the other side of this, we also saw 4 county sheriffs opposing her order, saying while we understand her desire to protect the public, we question some restrictions that she has imposed as overstepping her executive authority. As a result, we will not have strict enforcement of these orders. We will deal with every case as an individual situation and apply common sense in assessing the apparent violation. And so with that, there's also speculation that some businesses might just reopen anyway and pay the fine for doing so. And according to Matt Seeley, a spokesman for the Michigan Conservative Coalition, which organized the protest, if something isn't put in place soon, you'll see in the form of a protest businesses just opening. Because truthfully, for the $1,000 fine, most businesses could sustain that fine because they'll at least be able to make a living. Now, with all of that said, while Operation Gridlock is certainly the biggest protest against stay-at-home orders, it's not the first we've seen, right? This is not an isolated incident. States like Ohio and North Carolina have witnessed similar protests. Also in Kentucky yesterday, you had protesters chanting, "We want to work," over Governor Andy Beshear as he was providing coronavirus updates at a news conference.
We currently have the ability to track that, but what it does say is that there is significantly more of the coronavirus.
There are also reports of planned protests in states like Texas and Oregon. Right, and so for now, we'll have to wait to see if and where these pop up. But with this story, I really wanted to pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Do you think Whitmer is completely in the wrong? Do you think the protesters are completely in the wrong? Or do you land somewhere in the middle where you understand their frustrations, you agree with them, but you don't like the way they went about the protest? But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today in Awesome, brought to you by NordicTrack. You know, just because the gym is closed doesn't mean you can't stay healthy or get into better shape. And NordicTrack offers fantastic at-home workout machines like the NordicTrack RW900 rower. And so thanks to NordicTrack, I've got an at-home Olympian personal trainer and motivating workouts like rowing on a lake in Switzerland. And the machine even adjusts itself to the environments chosen on that beautiful screen so it feels like you're really there. And not only that, but NordicTrack's iFit interactive trainer makes recommendations based on your personal goals and actually records your progress. Every mile, every minute, accounting for calories burned using the data to guide future workouts and nutrition. And personally, my favorite thing about the iFit is it has what I want for pretty much any time. Or whether I want to do something that's kind of of longer distance or something short and sweet that I'm trying to fit in between shoots. Hence the pants in the B-roll footage you've been seeing. So if you're ready to step up your at-home workout game, just click that link in the description down below and snag yourself a NordicTrack with iFit personal trainers today. And the first bit of awesome today is after today's show, if you're looking for more to watch, I got some brand new video clips with Casey Neistat. Casey talking about the very real issue of burnout, which I think a lot more people are feeling these days, as well as advice to creators. Then we had Fran Drescher breaking down 13 looks from 1993 to now. Then we had the K-pop girl group G Idol doing TikTok dances better than anyone else. The Atlantic gave us what social distancing looks like across the world. How to Drink gave us a very timely video with top 5 3-ingredient drinks. Then we had the Bella Twins playing Truth or Dab. We also had Grimes breaking down her album. If you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, really anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then let's talk about a story that is yet another daily example that common sense may be common, but it is not universal. And at the center of this story you have Bretman, right? Very successful creator known for kind of weird, wacky videos. But after something recently happened, he had to make a more serious video.
Please do not show up at my house and ask me for a picture, especially during this time when everyone is supposed to be staying home.
Right, and adding that 2 days ago, there were 2 men who knocked on his door and they asked Rock's boyfriend if he was home. Also later leaving a note on his car, and he also added,
"Can y'all not do that, please? Because next time I really will be calling the cops."
And here's the thing, this is a story that a lot of people that have any sort of limelight, they can relate to. This happens, it's an invasion of privacy, it sucks. But this story today really stands out to me for 2 reasons. One, I feel bad for Rock, especially because it seems that this keeps happening at the worst times. Reportedly in November of last year, people showed up to his father's funeral and took photos of the family. But also, 2, specifically here with this incident, given the timing. Like, it already takes a special kind of idiot to think that it's okay to go to someone's house because you watch them on the internet. It is then a whole different level of stupid to do so during the coronavirus pandemic, at a time where a good chunk of the population isn't even supposed to go to work. Now you're like, well, I guess I have the free time. And here's the thing, I understand that 99.9% of the people watching me are not this ignorant and they are not that inconsiderate. But I feel like maybe if we share these stories and this sentiment and give the PSA of don't do this, then maybe someone like over your shoulder that might do it will overhear. Once again, I know that there's no way to truly stop stupid, but maybe we can kind of limit it. Or this is ultimately a futile effort, but at the very least it's cathartic for me. But, you know, with this, I want to jump from a negative to a positive. Right, we had our don't be stupid douchebag of the day story. What about our BAMFs? And there I want to talk about 2 people specifically, starting with one, Michael Che. Che, if you don't know, is the co-host of Weekend Update on SNL. He also recently lost his grandmother to COVID-19, and he took to Instagram last night to announce that for the 160 apartments in his grandmother's building, he will be covering an entire month of rent for them. And with this announcement, he also noted, "I really hope the city has a better plan for debt forgiveness for all the people in public housing. De Blasio, Cuomo, Diddy, let's fix this, page me." Right, so he's using this moment to call for help and highlight the issue people are gonna have with paying rent while so many people are out of work right now. You know, over the past few weeks, we've been talking about the rent and the mortgage crisis. So there was that, but in addition to Michael Che, our other BAMF is 99-year-old war vet Captain Tom Moore. And Moore is just an absolute BAMF. He started a fundraiser on April 8th, hoping to raise £1,000 for NHS charities together, raising money for UK hospitals, including staff, volunteers, patients affected by the coronavirus crisis. And on the fundraiser page with this $1,000 goal, it said, "Captain Tom Moore is aiming to walk 100 lengths of the back garden, which is 25 meters in length, before he is 100 years old at the end of the month. So get behind Tom as he does 10 laps a day." And holy hell, people got behind Tom. As of recording this video, he has raised £15.6 million. And these donations coming from over 769,000 supporters. I specifically love this story about Tom, not only because the amount raised is insane, but also I think because it shows that anyone, you don't have to be a celebrity, anyone in any position can try to help. Right at almost 100 years old, it would have been incredibly easy for Tom to be like, it's someone else's problem. And here we witness a man who did what he could, and what he could do turned out most likely to be far, far greater than what he initially thought. It's just a beautiful thing to see in these trying times, and I think we, myself included, need to have more of that Captain Tom Moore spirit. And then let's talk about stimulus checks, because, you know, yesterday we talked about possible problems with the paper stimulus checks, but now we're seeing tons of reports about problems with the direct deposit checks. And some of the most common problems being reported all center around the Get My Payment portal that the IRS rolled out yesterday. This portal is supposed to let people track the status of their payments and provide a way for people who had not signed up for direct deposit to give the IRS their banking information so they don't have to wait for a paper check. But early early on, people started having problems with the site. A lot of people saying that after entering their personal information into the portal, they were met with a message that read, "Payment status is not available." With text below is saying, "According to information that we have on file, we cannot determine your eligibility for a payment at this time." And you had tons of people sharing this experience, so much so that payment status is not available even started trending on Twitter. And this coming from people that said that the IRS had their direct deposit information from their taxes, others saying they couldn't get through to the IRS and that they didn't know what to do because the FAQ page didn't provide much information. And when you go to the FAQ, at least right now, they do have a section on payment status is not available. But there, all it does is provide 4 reasons why people might be getting that message. 1, they're not eligible